Building Men is brought to you by Finish the Race Apparel, FTRapparel.com, the creators of all things building men, and by Become Stronger Industries, become-stronger.com, the creators of handmade steel maces, hammers, and other badass equipment. If you are a young man in middle or high school, or if you know a young man in middle or high school, you have to check out the Foundation, the new online community powered by Building Men. This group will meet once every 2 weeks, and we talk about such topics as accountability, authenticity, commitment, confidence, courage, curiosity, humility, integrity, leadership, respect, resiliency, and self-discipline. There are unbelievable guest mentors, guys that we've had on the Building Men podcast that join us for each meeting to give the young men pieces of advice and answer any questions they might have. We also have an online community, an app called Mighty Networks that we use, and this is where the young men have an opportunity to connect, to communicate, to hold each other accountable. And we put out weekly challenges for the young men, and those weekly challenges are geared around our 12 healthy habits, which are sleep, hydration, movement, sunlight, journaling, breathing, strength training, gratitude, nutrition, limiting screen time, reading, and intentional discomfort. So we have an opportunity to join the foundation. There is information in the show notes. Go to Building Men website at buildingmen.io and click on the foundation tab. Go one step further than you thought you could go.
And it's the confidence comes not from the inspiration. The confidence comes from the movement, from the action.
Right.
And then once the action happens, the momentum provides the inspiration.
Are you ready?
You're listening to the Building Men podcast with Dennis and Anthony Miralda, brothers on a mission
To help you become the strongest version of yourself, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically.
So welcome to the Building Men podcast, everyone. As always, I'm your host, Dennis Miralda, joined today by two very important people in my life, guests on the Building Men podcast a couple different times. So we have started with Mark England on July 13th of 2021. It's 2.5 years since we've known each other, Mark. That's episode number 68. And then I interviewed Kimberly Kesting on November 14th of 21. That was episode 93. And then we followed up with one of the top Building Men podcasts as far as all-time downloads. I think this one is 15,000 downloads right now. And that's episode 105. And that was world-class presentation skills from December 23rd of 21. So that was one that I'll listen back to that episode time to time before I have a big speech or presentation coming up. Kimberly Kesting, Mark England, welcome to the podcast, guys.
Dennis, did you just admit to inflating your podcast download numbers by listening to it yourself?
That's what as soon as it comes out, I do that anyway. I remember when I first started the podcast, this is July of 2020. It got 8 downloads. And it was my mom, my brother, and then I listened to it from my phone, from my computer, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. So I was absolutely doing that when the podcast started. 100%. Building Men exclusive. Thanks for calling that out, Kimberly. I appreciate it. All right, so
we just got to know. We just got to know the
full transparency here. I did absolutely do that right when the podcast started. What I want to know first and foremost before we get into the big event, which is one of the reasons why we're doing this episode today, I'd love to go back and hear the origin story as Kimberly and Mark have come together in this conglomeration of enlifted individuals that is ever growing every day. It's like growing leaps and bounds. So Kimberly, I'll start with you. From your recollection of your first experience meeting Mark, tell us a little bit about that. Where did it come from? Why did you reach out to Mark, or he reach out to you?
So there's a collection of memories that flash before my eyes, and I'll just give you a scene from each. A man in a red tracksuit with a gold dragon on the back. A man in a living room poisoning people. And something about abracadabra. And each of those are separate instances. And it's Mark England. And I first was introduced to Mark from Mike Bledsoe, who was one of my mentors in business coaching and fitness coaching. And each one of those scenarios was, and there was a scene in Mexico where we dropped him off on the side of the road to pick up a kettlebell after he had been adamantly talking about it all day long. And Mark is an interesting individual. So a collection of those scenes, as you can imagine, very different than our professional relationship. And it was very clear to me, being around Mark in various all said scenes, that this guy operated differently than most people that I interacted with. He was very solid, very certain, very much like going to get some things done and have fun doing it. So once I got introduced to Mark's work professionally, I was coaching as a nutrition coach, working full time as a coach, doing my best with trying to motivate people into changing their diet and hold them accountable to putting the cheesecake down on Saturdays. And I was coming up with a lot of resistance in changing the core story of their mindset. And I was introduced to Mark and goal setting and removing soft talk. And just after having experienced him in real life, I'm like, okay, this guy, what he's talking about makes sense. And it is about the words. And okay, all right, I'll take the certification that he's invited me to 2 or 3 times. And I've said no each time. And now I'm ready to say yes. And I didn't know what I was saying yes to until I was in class. And, we'll save those secrets for those who choose to embark. Right. Ultimately, the evolution became, first meeting Mark in social environments, friend settings, then into learning from him as my own mentor and guide, helping me radically transform how I was coaching and really be able to support people much deeper. And then the story of how I came to join the team was a matter of Mark introducing me to Adam, his business partner that he'd been working with for many years, and was like, hey, you know some things about social media. Will you talk to Adam? We want to hire somebody to do that. And then the next chapter begins.
So it started, it was a big deal when Adam accurately identified her as she's like the white Beyonce. And it was me and him, man. And we're both different flavors of very dude. And we needed someone like Kimberly with just a fantastic, I know I interrupted, fantastic bedside manner, just a very feminine approach to what we were doing. And then when he called her that, I was like, huh. Yeah. Okay. Hey, all those people that I poisoned, they lived.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do right now. First, quick shout out to 2 other guests. I mean, you mentioned Mike Bledsoe, guest on the podcast, episode 76, and Adam Chin, guest on the podcast, episode 81. So we're, just as we're talking, just all the old heads that are coming back into play. So, Kimberly, as you were talking, as Mark was listening, I was watching Mark's nonverbals, and the song by the Human League came into my mind. This song is Don't You Want Me, Baby? Do you remember that song? Don't you want me, baby?
80s was the best.
Absolutely. And whenever I have you on, Mark, I have to throw in some old school songs, right? So that song is told from the perspective of the guy and the girl, right? He goes, she goes, I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. That much is true, right? True. So my singing it needs some work there. I'll try to get a little background music on that as well. But Mark, from your perspective, right? So, Kimberly just told a couple things of the guy in the red jumpsuit with the tiger on the back or the dragon on the back. And then there's the poison, the kettlebell. Pick out one of those stories and tell it from your perspective, your recollection of that scenario with Kim.
I handed her the look of excitement on her face when I handed her four $100 bills and said, go get snacks for everyone at the lake house. And it was like the best thing ever.
There was also keys to the Jeep.
Keys to the Jeep. Yeah. Not everybody reacts that way when, they're offered a task to go take care of people. And she did that. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And so the lake house has been a magical place for Enlifted. It's been HQ. We've had more sessions with myself and Adam and Vanda when it was Procabulary and it was just us, and there's fumes in the bank for month after month after month. We shot our first and third online course there. How many parties have we had there, Kimberly? A good amount.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about like, hey, let's have some hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
What's that?
1 to 2 a year that are notable.
Notable, as in pack it full of people and get out of the way. And so the first one, you were at the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It was 17 dudes and you and Goober.
Mm-hmm. And
you were okay with that. It's not like, okay, yeah, fine. They had their place back in the back and yeah. So Kimberly's fun to work with. She's very fun to work with, and she handles Adam and I's dudeness very well, compliments it very well. And you know, she just wins. It's like the same thing with the podcast. It's help her do what she wants to do and know will work. And she's got a fantastic track record. So, and fantastic people skills, built for podcasting. The two winners of the National Machine Gun Mouth Championship Award. Okay. The two winners so far in the Enlifted community out of 370 graduates. One of them is Kimberly. And one of them is Ryan Sprague. And they both walked into level 1, and it was like this. It's just words flying everywhere. And I was like, okay, like I'm you know what I'm good at? One of the things I'm good at, picking and choosing my coaching interactions. And so I was like, okay, eventually we're going to slow that down, which we did, which helped. And then she was like, wow, that helped. And then she took level 2. I believe that was, had taken level 2. And that was right around the time we were looking for someone to help with social. And, she built her place in Enlifted. Enlifted built her place for her. It's worked. It's worked well. You know, it's been very organic.
As I hear stories of the lake house, and Kimberly, I'll ask you this question as an outsider. This is Mark's, space, right? To me, in my mind, it's like Happy Gilmore's happy place. Before he's getting ready to putt, he goes to his happy place, and his happy place is like, it's a dwarf riding on a pony. There's like a hot girl in lingerie. There's Chubbs McGee getting ready. Like, I see that all swirling around. Tell us from your perspective, what is the lake house like?
That's you just described it.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Well, here's the best part about it is that it is a beautifully decorated and outfitted home, right? So it's like you walk in and you feel like you're at home, and there's like a cute little sign outside the door that says "Friends gather here," and so it's very unsuspecting because you can tell that it is a family home and that it is built for to host a lot of people, because there's a lot of space in there for people to sleep, and yet at the same time you're like, what type of energy is this going to be? You walk out, you see this gorgeous, beautiful lake, a perfectly manicured lawn, a lovely sunroom with my favorite spot in the house. And then as more people start coming in, and it's always it's like a revolving door. You never really know who's going to come in next or what's going to happen. The party creates itself because the people who gather there bring the flavor of experience. And so the first gathering that Mark referenced was hysterical because it was me, one of my girlfriends, and 17 dudes. And I didn't I knew what I was getting into because I knew most of those 17 dudes and had previous gatherings similar to them. What I didn't really know was what was
all the strong coach dudes.
Yeah, it was all strong coach dudes. And like these guys were my friends. Like I didn't think it was like, I was just like, oh, okay, they're all here. This is cool. Until it started to get to the point where it was like a total dude fest. And I was like, I need some incense or something, like help. But we had a lot of fun. And then so the gatherings after that were, it's like you get a rhythm for how the scene is going to set itself just based on what characters come in. And one of the best things about the whole experience is that they were organic friendships that were built that also had some sort of professional ties. So people understood like what each other did or how they could learn from each other or build or network together. And then eventually it started to turn into these consistent gatherings of people that it became during the day. There was podcasting, there was business development conversations, there's people developing courses, working on their marketing, like all of that's happening during the day. And then at night, we're like, turn on the red light and we're playing good music and we're having fun. And if Ryan Sprague's there, the volcano bags are blowing and, it's people relax a little more, we share meals together, having fun. And those experiences started to, they organically created themselves. Because what it is if you put people in a room who have enough in common and who are go-getters and who want to have a good time and have come through Mark and myself and Adam in a way that they have learned about language and they've learned about how to control their story, it's a magic portal because everybody comes in and they came in with a problem they want to solve in their business. They came in with a emotion they want to let go of, something that's challenging in their life. They're coming in with the intention to have a good time and to bring good energy to the group. And that's just a recipe for success. And so what we've started to realize was like, then we start, maybe Mark knew this the whole time. I don't know. What I started to realize was that this was like a really great way for people to come together and very similar to a retreat, like escape out of your own life, come here for 3 or 4 days, connect with people who are in the same industry as you, working towards the same goals as you, have fun, play, enjoy, relax, and then get out of here and go back to your life and integrate what you learned. And so these gatherings just kept getting better and better and better. And we had more and more people we wanted to invite. And so the Enlifted Experience is born, which is an actual professional event where we're intentionally gathering people from much of the same dynamic and vibe. And, you can't have 100 people in a 4-bedroom house. You can't fit them, physically can't. So
we maxed it 32. We had 32 people there. So there's beds for 22. It's built for that. But 100's a little much.
Yeah, it sounds like an amazing time. It definitely, since I've met both of you, that's something that it will happen in the future, is getting down to that space. And as you were talking, Kimberly, it's like, it brought me back to why I got into Enlifted in the first place. So now we're talking, it's right around now is the 2-year anniversary of me joining Enlifted officially, going through level 1 certification. So as Mark led it, you were his co-pilot, guiding us through. And feel free to pull this as far as what I truly believe are the things that make Enlifted so special. And I'm going to take 4 C's. The first is community. I really, like you just mentioned it, like you had this community feel before it actually happened. The event was basically going to run itself based on the community aspect. It feels like family. You have a group of people that are in the same space, of a similar mindset, but within that similar mindset, it allows for, you have people that are into smoking weed. You have people that are, that do Olympic events. You have like a really cool chessboard of different type pieces in this community. There's this idea of competency. Second C is, after going through the experience, like learning how we think about the words we use when we're speaking to ourselves, and then how that translates into us speaking to other people. It's powerful. So you come out with this level of competency, which leads to feeling confident. Before I went through Enlifted, I remember having a conversation with you, Kimberly, like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if you're like, listen, first of all, you've been doing this for the last 20 years working with young men as a principal, but you have this ability, right? And so you gain this level of competency. Then there's this idea of contribution. So not only are you feeling good about the community, your ability, but you're giving something back. Every single time that you're on a coaching call with a client, you're throwing a pebble into a still pond, and that ripple effect that it has, you're able to contribute not only to their mindset, but conversations that they're having with other people. And the last one is connection. Most of the clients that I've gotten have been through connections that I have created through this Enlifted lifestyle that I'm leading right now. So those 4 C's is like, if someone were to tell me or ask me the question, what do I believe it is? That it's those 4 things together. So I'll segue then into taking that experience that you guys had at the lake house, and you decided to create this event. So Mark, what was the brainchild to create the Enlifted event? Where did that conversation start to happen?
It started in the car. Mike Bledsoe and I and some other people from Encinitas driving down from Encinitas down to South San Diego to go to a what's the name? Starts with it was an event, and we're driving down, and I go, dude, this is before anything Enlifted, anything. This was when we first started talking about it. We called it flow stated. I said, buddy, you know everybody. I'm the mouth of the South. Let's throw a festival. And he goes, yeah, festival. And Landmark, that's it. It was a Landmark Forum event. So we go in, do that thing, go back to Encinitas, wake up the next day, and we're like, and we had a chalkboard. He had a big chalkboard in his house, which was really cool. And we were writing different things up there. And it really, like, his handwriting is almost as bad as mine. So it looked like this just strange formula that only the 2 people that were writing it could understand. And then we looked at each other and we're like, let's do some workshops instead. Let's start there. So we did flow stated. And I go, I'll do the language and the story. You run the exercise aspect of it. And we did 4, and all of them worked. And then I get my arm ripped out of socket at a jiu-jitsu school and fly over to Thailand to get it fixed, turn it into a work retreat, and we're over there, Adam and I. And this is
I
9 months.
Shops.
You did?
Yeah. In Boston. And that's when I first met Mike. Well,
I was supposed to go up there for that.
Time.
That's right. This is very interesting. I forgot about this. That's right. I was supposed to go up there for that. And I get over to what we were going to do, because for the first time, we had like $25K in the bank with vocabulary, because going on Barbell Shrugged and selling all the courses, and that boosted everything. And now I've got a strong clientele list. And that's what we were selling with vocabulary, which was workshops, courses, and one-on-one coaching. So we had some money, and we was like, let's reshoot Core Language Upgrade. And so I went over to Thailand with that idea in mind, and got my elbow fixed, super easy. And we're over there, and I'm like, dude, you know what? There's something there with Mike. We could take the vocabulary language tech, it's all the same tech, and point it at the fitness industry. We could make an online course, and we'll sell those courses. We'll do Core Language Upgrade later. And he goes, that's interesting. We got on the phone with Mike. Yes. He said yes. And so we made The Way of the Enlifted Athlete. And we launched that at Paleo Effects May 2019. It turned into the certifications.
Building men of character, integrity, strength, compassion, and empathy through transformational mentoring, coaching, and motivational speaking is our mission here at Building Men. To work with me as a one-on-one life coach, you can find information in the show notes, or you can visit our website at buildingmen.io, where you can book a free 30-minute discovery call to help you become the strongest version of yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Now, back to the show.
Did that answer your question, or did I just rant and tangent off thing?
No, you're good out.
Because I enjoy this. Trust me, I get so damn consumed. Another reason why the Enlifted community is so cool is because people take this seriously. People take coaching, they take it seriously. They're serious about it, and they're sincere about it. And you put those two things together, and less of that victim mentality garbage, that voice in your head telling you that you suck. Turn the volume down on that, get your breath working for you, and it improves people's ability to get hours on the clock, which is very important when it comes to getting things across the finish line. So our work ethic is very real. Our work ethic and competency and potency at Enlifted, people come out of it better. And so I get so consumed with the day-to-day stuff, I forget about where we've come from. And so this is very fun for me to just dissolve into memory lane and then, yeah.
And the idea there is it's not, I mean, you're a 10, 15, 20-year overnight success with this. You know, it goes back quite a way. And even the brainchild of this event, it wasn't just this past summer. It was, you've had this in mind the whole time. You were looking for the time to make your move, and the time to make your move was very recently. And so the event is coming up in the next, it's in less than a month right now. So by the time this podcast airs, it'll be about 3 weeks away, 3.5 weeks away. And it's an event that I am honored to be a part of. And so Kimberly will kick off the event and hand me the microphone. And so I'm the starting pitcher here. You know, I'm the guy who's taking the ball and taking my spot on the hill. That was what I did when I played college baseball as a starting pitcher. So I'm used to that role and what I'm doing. But I would love to hear from you, Kimberly, about, like, what is the event going to be like? If, you know, if I'm listening, this is the first time I'm hearing about it right now. Tell me a little bit about what I'm going to experience, who's going to be there. You know, give me a little hype reel on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so as I mentioned about how the lake house, like what was happening organically was that people wanted all the C's you brought together, which is they wanted to connect, which you're going to do when you're put into the same room with people that are all smiling and happy. They want to be able to grow their coaching businesses, right? They're working hard towards making their coaching craft a lucrative profession, and they want to be able to have a good time doing it. So we've set this event up to meet all of those expectations, which is that you're going to get in the room with people who are doing what you do. You're going to get more skills to get even better at what you do, whether that's coaching with the Enlifted method, getting exposed to the Enlifted method for the first time, or developing some of the business aspects, right? We're bringing in experts around marketing and sales and storytelling and sales. And we're setting people up with the opportunity to integrate what they're learning as a craft from coaching alongside with the business development piece. And so this whole weekend is work and play. And it's important that we've made space for both, and we've set up both because we want people to be able to come in with really the opportunity to experience Enlifted in person, which is a very special thing. People who come to Enlifted events like always come back to the next one because it is difficult to describe with words what you will experience with being in a room with people in this way. And to highlight some of the things, the way that we're breaking out this event, it's over 3 days, and we're going to be setting up live podcasting, which we're going to get to do. We're going to have networking opportunities. People can walk around, talk to each other, connect. We're going to have speakers on stage. Dennis will be one of them. We've got breakout workshops to go through different ways to apply the Enlifted method, whether you're a fitness coach, a health coach, you want to learn more about your business, you want to just connect with other coaches, and you want to talk about how you guys use this the same or different. And then we're going to have Saturday night, the headline experience. We've got an outdoor amphitheater at this place called Dogwood Dell in Richmond, which is it is perfect for what we're going to be doing, because it is a outdoor, big tiered stands that are grass, and everybody can just like sit and be in the earth. We're going to have Mark going through live Enlifted method coaching. So we'll pull people from the crowd to get coached and to work through the method together, and for people to see that and done in real time. And then we are going to have close out our evening with a breathwork performance by Brandon Powell, who is a Wim Hof instructor, unlike any Wim Hof instructor you have ever encountered or experienced. It seems silly to call him that. And so he's puts his own original music to breathwork. He's going to be on stage like a rock star, and everybody's going to be in the crowd breathing with us, which will get you to close out the day is going to be an epic experience. And then, of course, because it's us, we're going to have a dance party to finish it out. We've got our podcast producer, Shlomo, who also does DJing and nightclub stuff. He's going to be there, which is rad. And we're going to have so much fun with that. And then on Sunday, we're going to bring it back to tightening up the loose ends from the day before. So you're going to get the opportunity to ask questions of Mark. You're going to get the opportunity to interact with me, some of the other speakers and featured people to get, how do I take this home? What am I doing with this? How am I going to integrate this in my coaching business? What are the next steps? And if there's one thing that we do incredibly well, it's setting people up to take that action and take their next steps. So you're going to walk out of the weekend feeling, Enlifted is the word that comes to mind. You're going to be action prone. You're going to be hyped. You're going to feel really good. You're going to have a bunch of new connections and people that you're going to want to stay connected with on the internet, or maybe they live near you, whatever it is. You're going to walk out of there with new relationships and know what to do for your next step to take your coaching business out into the world, or to take this method into your life. If you're not a coach and you still want to come and get all the benefits of this, like, you're more than welcome to join us. This is something that could be a springboard into something else, could be just the opportunity to be around people who are serious and sincere. As Mark said, like, there's serious, not to be confused with boring. They just, we take ourselves seriously, and we're going to give you a great time, because this will be the exact opposite of boring. And yeah, the evolution of this event from our other events has been fun. We have an event coordinator, Rob, who is an Enlifted certified coach, has a background in event planning. So we've really we've leveled up our game. This has stretched us in new and different ways. It's putting, for me, this is the largest professional event that I've hosted. I've done retreats and I've done one-day workshops and things, but this is a whole new arena for me in that sense. And so we did this because our students were asking for it. We did this because our community was asking for it. We did this because we wanted to do it. And that is the intention of serving our people, providing more value, having a lot of fun. And for us to really have our hearts in it is something that you will feel being there. And I'm sure you can feel through this conversation, because it's something that, it lights us up too. It's a lot of work on our part. We've been working on this for months and months. It's going to be a lot of work to pull it off. And I'm going to walk out with a full battery. I after the crash that happens after you've been, orchestrating people, but I will come out of that with a full battery, and grateful for the whole thing. So,
Mark, what are you most looking forward to during that 3-day event?
Watching you and Meglet and Ryan Sprague and Joel Cochran and Jen Brocksterman get up there and deliver your talks. That's one thing I'm very much looking forward to. This is the first time I've ever coached a speaking team. Very cool. Meeting people that have been you're one of them we've never met in person.
Right.
Meeting people that have been in the community or on the periphery of the community for a while, meeting them in person. The weather in Richmond in October.
Perfect.
Y'all come visit, but you can't move here. It's just too nice. You're going to want to. It's awesome. You know, I grew up going to Dogwood Dell. I'm from Richmond. That's a really, really special venue. And the Bird Theater is a national treasure. I think what is it? Kimmy, the oldest
Continuously operating movie theater in the country.
Yeah. Right. There's that.
It looks like an opera house.
It looks like an opera house. We're going to get, I love presenting with Brandon. You know, he and I go back to middle school. We were in a class for special needs kids together in middle school. We both have a condition. Kimmy likes to want to say that. It's true. And
it's definitely true about Brandon.
It's definitely true about Brandon. And for whatever we get together, and it's just a locking of a mechanism. And we've done 15 workshops together. So this will be 16. There's that. What else? My niece and my stepmom, who's my second mom, they're going to be there. And, you know, I work online, right? So it's they see me on a computer a lot.
Yeah.
And trust me, I do not do any coaching with them. I'm way smarter than that. I would do a celebrating the wins session with either one of them. Okay. I would celebrate the wins with friends and family members. When it comes to the stuck stuff, I got people. And so this is a way for them to see what the fuck I've been doing with my life for the past 16 years. That's a big deal.
Do you think they'll be surprised?
No. Because all it is me. It's the same me just on stage. Like I don't mean, change it all.
I wasn't saying about at you. I was going to say, do you think they'll be surprised at how at the community you've created and built? Do you think they'll be surprised at how everybody there views you and respects you? And do you think there's any element in them that'll be like, what? Wow.
In that case, in that sense, yes. Because they don't see me that way. I'm fun Uncle Mark, taking out the trash, like going to the arcade, watching the UFC.
Lighting farts,
so in that regard,
lighting farts on fire.
Dude. Yeah, stuff like that.
Uncle stuff.
So in that sense, and it'll be more. Susan has seen me present, and she listens to the podcast. And she asks specific questions. She's generally interested in, you know, what we're doing and how things are going. It'll be much more novel, if I'm using that word correctly, for Noelle. Okay. Yeah.
So one thing that I recognize as I go and I do workshops, most of them are for educators. I'll go into a school, I'll do an assembly program, I'll set up a building men program in a school. I'll work with teachers, teaching them strategies to use with their kids, and work with parents. And one thing that I recognize as I'm doing that work is human beings. When I do it, I talk about kids have these needs, these 5 basic needs. But as I, take a 30, 40,000 look at it, we all have these needs as human beings. And what you're doing is you're creating an opportunity to meet all these needs for every person who's there. The first is the need for autonomy, to feel as though your voice is an integral part of the space. So as an Enlifted coach, I feel as though, you care about how I feel about things. You care about my opinion. You actively seek that out. So it's like, that's one of the great things about establishing that community is you feel like you're a part of it. Your opinion matters. The second is competence. We talked about that already. So as people are there, they're going to be gaining knowledge and skills and, rolling up their sleeves and going through it, but they're going to come out. Kimberly, you said your battery is going to be charged. It's going to be I'm sure an exhausting couple of days, but you're going to come out like, I feel more prepared in whatever I'm doing after this based on this experience. The next one is, this is bound to happen when this group together, and that's the need for fun. It's going to be a good time. So, those autonomy, competence, fun. The next is relationship. That's basically the Enlifted method, is establishing opportunities for people to connect with one another. So that need will be met, and it's going to be done. And the final need is the need for safety. It's done in a space where you feel like, I'm not worried about making a mistake. I've done a lot of research and talked a lot recently about the idea of like, let's reframe the thoughts about failure in our mind. Like, let's look at failure as you did something, learn a way not to do it in the future. So what can I do to learn from that? And so you're doing that in a safe space, and people will have an opportunity to learn from some really great people in the industry and practice things as well. So you'll come out of it with, this whole, toolbox of tricks that you can use and experiences that you've had. And so you're meeting all of these needs that people have in one 3-day event. So you're packaging it up and you're giving it to us. So if I'm on the fence here, I'm like, maybe, I don't know, using some soft talk, possibly, probably, I might. What's going to be the thing? Why do I need to be there? What do I need to know that's going to put me over the line? I'm now going to sign up for this event. What is it? I'll start with you, Kimberly. What is the thing? What is the thing that you're like, this is why you need to be here?
You have to get in the arena. And the reality is that many coaches and people opt for the safety of their comfort zone rather than looking for an opportunity to get out of it. And I know I made this choice early on in my coaching career many times, that a seminar or workshop seemed expensive, or it seemed like, oh wow, that's a big ask to get out of my world to go do this. And every single time that I did, the investment returned to me tenfold, because putting yourself in the arena with people who are doing what you want to be doing is the only way to get better, and is the only way to actually develop your skills. You can't watch from the sidelines and become an NFL player. You have to go out on the practice field, and you have to you have to start working at it. And so much of what, I think that I love listening to podcasts. I love following people on the internet that are interesting and fun. I only learn from them when I show up, right? When I make the decision to go to the event, or to enroll in their course, or to, get into the same space as them in whatever way I can. And that is powerful when you do it online. And it is even more powerful when you do it in person. And the in-person connection that you're going to build on top of the professional development that you're going to have, and the new identity you're going to step into after this weekend, you have to get into the arena to do it, and you got to compete to win. So let's go.
I'm going to echo that. And Kimberly, while I'm doing that, will you pull up the list of people that have purchased tickets so we can give them a first and last name shout out on this, for real?
Yeah.
So you negation acknowledge you don't need to go to many kick-ass workshops to come out with a different perspective, lens, peer group. Kimberly's absolutely right. And really, what is expensive? Well, first and foremost, $500 for this event is very affordable. That is cheap. Okay. So let's use the right words there. And then what's really expensive, everybody? Shit talking yourself through life. That's the real expensive stuff. Bumping up into the thing that's in the way of you getting in your own way. That's expensive. That's the real. I'm just going to get my own way for a few decades. You know how much that's costing you across the board, from finances to your emotional gas tank to your relationships. Kimberly, how attractive is it when a man keeps getting in their own way and can't figure it out, and then starts blaming other people? And does that really get you going? Does that really? How about your friends? Your friends are like, wow, I met this great guy, and he talks trash about everybody, and thinks that he's Everybody's got it so much easier than him. And yeah, he's just soft talks all over the place. And I think I met the one. No one says that. Nobody says that. That dude she doesn't want to be with him, and he doesn't want to be with him. That's the punchline. So not only, okay, so that's going to happen. You'll come out and you'll be like, man, these people are doing stuff that they like doing. It's true. And they're normal, but better. And this is interesting. And listen, if you're a coach and you're already coaching, you need to be there, because if you want to, I'm assuming that most coaches that want to grow their business and their brand have at least flirted with the idea of getting on stage. Okay. You need to be able to do that. And that is one of the things that we bring to the table in spades, which is presentation skills, how to run workshops and create experiences for people. It's in the name. This is an experience. This is not a room in the Marriott with a fucking bear claw and some Earl Grey tea and a slideshow. We're not doing that, because that's horrible. That's horrible. Okay.
Go to Landmark if you want to do that.
So Kimberly said it. Come and hang out with people that are doing the thing that it is you want to do, generally speaking, and fucking go for it. Learn. You got to listen, everybody. You didn't have any classes in high school about how to go for it. You didn't. I didn't learn how to teach classes on how to go for it. When I got my degree in education. Dennis, how many classes were on offer about how to get yourself out of your own way and go for it when you were a principal? How many times did you see that on the,
Never. I've learned more about education in the Enlifted family than I did in all of my years of education.
Yeah, I want to make 100%. A key point, which is that, like, we've already highlighted, like, Dennis, you echoed how, like, our first conversation, you're like, how am I ever going to do this? And I reflected to you have all this experience, right? My experience learning the Enlifted method is very similar. Mark said all those kind things about me. Thank you. I am a person who I go for things, and I was in my own way that much too. And until you learn how to overcome that shit talking voice, and until you learn that, oh, I'm not the only one who hears that. And, oh, wow, actually everybody else's shit talking voice seems to say a lot of the same things, just a little bit of a different flavor. And, oh, there's a way to overcome that. And, oh, there's a way for me to work through this. And, oh shit, my clients all have it too. And that's the thing that's really keeping them stuck. When you realize that it's not about somebody else being more skilled than you, or being more daring than you, or being more confident than you, it's that person has been more willing to work for it and more willing to overcome and to put themselves in the room where they are uncomfortable, right? That's why I said you have to leave the safety of your comfort zone to get out and to go and to do these sorts of things. You're going to be reflected by all of the other people that are there with you, that you are more similar to them than you are different. And so if you are a coach who's just getting started, you're more similar to the guy who's been in the game for 15 years than you are different. Like he's just got more reps, right? Or she's got more reps, or she said yes more times. And I'm not special. I'm not unique. I have put myself in the position to go do the thing, as have you, as has Mark, as has many of the Enlifted coaches. And the reason,
show up, Kimmy. You show
up. And because I know how to talk myself into showing up, because just showing up isn't enough. Right? You have to actually get yourself to show up. I was having this conversation last night at yoga class. Here's the thing, right? Like, I have a background in the fitness industry. I've done a lot of fitness and nutrition coaching. And I was having a conversation with the instructor about how I had taken her class the week before. She invited me back. She was like, hey, I would love to have you in my power class. And I said, yeah, that sounds great. And as a former fitness instructor, I would say that to people and I'd never see them again. So I made a point to go see her again, because I wanted to let her know that invitation was important and it got me back. And I told her that when I got there. She was like, oh, you came back. I was like, yeah, you invited me and I said yes. And we started this conversation about how the most difficult thing is to get yourself to say yes, to show up. And I could have easily just been like, oh, she invited me, whatever. I don't really care if I go back or not. I was like, no, she invited me. I'm going to say, yes, I liked your class. This is going to challenge me, and cool, I can do this again. But the point is that you have to talk yourself into getting in the car to drive over to the studio. Okay. You have to talk yourself into pulling up the website and putting your credit card information to buy the ticket. You got to talk yourself into getting on the plane to show up and get over there, because if you don't do that, like, you're not going to show up. So how do you learn how to have that conversation with you about being honest about what you really want, and then know how to use your language to say yes? And you might not know much about that yet, but if you trust us on this conversation right now and you take that action and you do show up, we'll take care of the rest when you get there.
Most people have a black belt in not showing up.
And it's the confidence comes not from the inspiration. The confidence comes from the movement, from the action.
Correct.
And then once the action happens, momentum provides the inspiration. And it's the thing is, as a person that's gone through Enlifted levels 1 and 2, I will tell you, I don't even know, like, trying to do the math in my head, what I spent to get the certifications. It's been 50 times that I've made back. Maybe 75 times I've made back my initial investment in Enlifted, from coaching clients, from opportunities that have come from connections that I've made. So if $500 is a lot, like, it's worth it. It is well worth it. And then once you go through the experience, if you don't have any experience with Enlifted whatsoever, sign up for level 1 and it will change your life. 100%. I didn't, you wouldn't coax me to say any of that. From the bottom of my heart, has been one of the best decisions I've made in my entire life, was the connection that we made. And I truly appreciate and am so grateful for the belief that you have in me, putting me up on stage and giving me that opportunity as well.
I want to touch on that too, everybody. So the energy of this thing is very real. So we reached out we went 5 for 5 in an hour. We created a list of people that we were going to ask to speak. And there were the first 5 people, everybody said yes. They got back to us in under an hour. That's called pulling triggers. That's called showing up. That's called going, yes, please. Yeah, I'm there. And you trust me, you want more people in your life like that. And sometimes you need to pay to be around them. Okay. Because they're not floating around. You're not going to bump into many people like that at the supermarket, or like, social media is weird. You can fake all kinds of shit. No, you need to be around those people in real life. And this is a professional setting. You're going to come out of this with some of the sparkle.
100%. So as you were talking about showing up, Kimberly, you have to be in the arena. In front of me, I have a board of just great stuff, quotes, things that inspire me as I'm podcasting, as I'm doing live coaching. And so as you were talking, I pulled something off this board and I'm going to read it out. This is Teddy Roosevelt. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Speaks so clearly to the importance of showing up. So if you were on the fence, jump and the net will appear. Drive and the map will appear. Take the risk, show up, be in the arena. Mark, Kimberly, this has been an absolute honor. I wanted to open up to you guys. Any final words, any thoughts, anything for Building Men at all? Mark, I'll start with you.
For all the Building Men listeners, audience members, dude, come hang out with your dude. Fellas, come hang out with Dennis. Come hang out with Dennis in Richmond in October with a bunch of other cool people too. And walk away with some of his magic, because that's what happens when you share your talents. Okay. And he's absolutely going to do that. Everybody is listening on the Get Enlifted podcast. You've been listening for probably, okay, well, let me back up. If you're listening to this on the Get Enlifted podcast, you're invited. You to the degree that you do, which is way more than the average person, you understand how powerful your words are. Okay, come get a big fat dose of rad and abracadabra and hang out with us. This isn't rocket science. Listen, dinner and drinks on Friday and Saturday night. It's the same thing. Okay. People will blow $500 on some real dumb shit. This is the smart stuff. This is the no-brainer stuff. Kimberly, you got a list of people? Let's say thank you.
Screen share, so I can you allow me to share the screen?
Oh yeah.
So that way Mark can see this list too.
You should be able to do it right now.
It's perfect. All right, Mark, do you see this?
I do indeed.
Would you like me to make it a little larger?
I'm good right there.
Okay, here you go.
Jason Wisner, Holly Brenner, James Moore, Bill Robertson,
Wild Bill the Jeweler.
Wild Bill the Jeweler, Beef Worm. That's his girl. That's Beth. Chelsea Hawkins, +1. Is that her husband? Pierce?
It's
no, that's Val Saucier, Poutine Queen, Davis Atbury, Tess Salb. I was hanging out with her in West Virginia last month. She's cool. Kyle Stubbs, Jeremy Zavik, Rob Pengelly, Bill Matthews, Gail Matthews, Zach Barney, Casey Pepper. What a cool name. Matt Meyer, Jeremy Grusteiner. This is getting me hyped even more. And I've been jazzing all hour.
This is actually the first time Mark's seen the whole list. I was thinking about this.
Sean Rivers. Who's his +1?
That's a great question. It might be, I don't know, actually. I'll have to ask.
Sean Rivers +1. We're looking forward to hanging out with you. Melissa Curtis, Chad Curtis, Will Gamby, Claire Gamby, Ryan Walla, Lori Walla, Todd Squires, Ken Dominique, Ashley Todd, Ulrich, fucking Ulrich. Mike, I would have thrown the event just to hang out with him. Michael Cerami, Michael Saylor, Andy Hickman, Dude Spellings coming through. That guy had that one introduction to Carrie Kepler. And then, dude, thank you so much. Abby Mathick. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Mathick. Abby Mathick. Lawrence Caddy. Kaylin Couch. Jack Thomas. Ryan Witherspoon. Ryan Witherspoon +1. That's got to be Lobster the Lobster. Oni Moma. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Brianne Reed. Sunshine, a.k.a. Sunshine McLeod.
Oh, you know who got out this list?
Charlotte Stanhope, the biz hippie. We got, and then all
of the other people. There's a whole other list of people that'll be there.
Rob Eschbach, you savage. Kimberly Kesting, you
That's
savage. Me. That's her. Ryan Sprague, Megan Henry, the Savage Meglet, Dennis, Jen, Joel Cochran, Rachel Veratimos, Big Will coming through. He's about to get his black belt in jiu-jitsu. Jenny Patton, Eric Patton, Mike Gonzalez is presenting. Love you,
Plus
Mike.
his team is coming too, which is going to be rad. I just spoke with Desmond this morning.
Right the fuck on. Jen Gittimer, Kyle Gray, Cody Ringle, Amanda, Sergeant Crespo, Taylor, Captain Morgan, Dave Robinson, Chase Tollison's flying in for an airstrike. Are y'all kidding me? These like, y'all ever heard of A-list? Y'all got to come. You got to come.
Plus Adam Chin, Vanda, Mark England.
Adam Chin, Vanda, Susan England, Noelle England. Stop fucking around and get your ticket and come hang out, okay? Come be a part of this thing. Be a part of something. I'm gonna be a part of the news. Great idea. Don't do that. Come hang out with us. We're better. We're better than CNN. We're better than Fox. We're better than fucking TikTok. Fuck TikTok. Come to Richmond.
Tuned up, Mark is tuned up here. I love it. I love that you share the list there, Kimberly. So you also have Julie will be there.
Yeah.
She reached out to you, Mark. I think she'll be.
Yes, she
her
did.
and I are going to be wearing matching pink pants and some black and pink Jordans to when up on stage. So definitely rocking some building men gear while we're there.
Yeah.
Megan's boyfriend,
Yeah, Jack.
I think Jackie boy, he's coming. He's British. I mean, come on, people.
Yeah, the squad is going to be, I mean, here's the thing that I'll say from a perspective of like, you know, why it's important that you show up and why it's important to bring this group of people together. When Mark was inviting the Building Men listeners to come meet Dennis, that's why I love the way that this community works, which is that every single person that we have invited to put on stage or to host a workshop or even honestly to come are people that have their own sphere of influence. Like you mentioned, that pebble into the water that creates and ripples out. And there is nothing that makes me more excited when I hear I don't actually want to hear from an Enlifted coach what Enlifted has done for them. I know what it did for you. I see it all over you. Like, that's amazing. I love that. What I want to hear is, what has it done for your clients? What I want to hear is, what has it done for your spouse? What I want to hear is, how has this been integrated into your family? What I want to hear is, how has it been implemented in your community? And because that stuff is that's what we're doing here. We're not just ending with the person who decides to take Enlifted. We are starting with them, and it's a domino out to as many other people as they can reach. And so when we came together and we said, hey, who do we want to invite and who do we want to feature? The first thing I thought of is like, well, who am I seeing out in our community that are making big impacts and are influencing a lot of other people? Because I want to put them on a stage where they're people can come and see them shine, right? So inviting the listeners of Building Men, inviting the listeners of Getting Lifted, that's awesome. I love it. I want people to recognize how far the ripples go and how you showing up to an event like this makes you part of that ripple and makes you like bring it back to your community, to your family, to your clients, to your people. And the world is a really tough place right now for many people. And if you can be a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter and to provide some tools to have people have a smile on their face and have them breathe a little better and see themselves in a more positive light, and that sounds appealing to you, come supercharge it with everybody that we just listed off and the other people that are going to buy tickets, because we all can, like, it's going to transfer to you. You're going to take it back. And it's what better gift, you know, to be around people who can charge your battery and who can fill you up. And I know in my experience of coaching online or just even coaching in person and being one of the only people on the team or in my space that is the one carrying the torch and being that positive influence, it's a lot easier to be that consistently when you have 65 people behind you who are doing the same thing.
This was amazing. Let's do a follow-up. We'll do a post Enlifted event podcast. Just a quickie just to say, hey, this was tremendous. Let's look forward to the next one, which I'm sure will be a thing. And again, honored to be up on stage. I will be at every one moving forward as well, be in the audience, and I'll be cheering on the next person who's up on stage. I also wanted to recognize Mark for coaching me through the speech. So it's a TEDx style talk. We got onto a call 2 weeks ago. Our next call is in a couple days, just workshopping through it. So to have a world-class coach helping me, navigate the 7 hours of stuff I have in my mind to try to, to get it down to a 15-minute speech. And a quick teaser, I'll be talking about the 3 thieves that are getting in our way of success. 3 thieves that are getting in our way of success. You want to know more about that and what you could do to overcome those 3 thieves? Sign up for the event. Mark England, Kimberly Kesting, it was an honor as always. See you guys at the event. Building Men audience, go one step further than you thought you could go. We'll see you next time on Building Men.